Good go. We are live here, the Georgia Show, rocking and rolling.
I can't hear a damn thing, so I've just got to kind of play cameraman.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. I love it. Jake Rowe coming in here. We're going to him right now. We're soloing with Jake Rowe. This is how it's looking in Los Angeles at the moment. You're watching it live with us here.
He's seen here a minute ago. Stetson had gone to the locker room to celebrate with teammates. Then kind of has to stack out. This place went absolutely bananas.
As you might expect, I think that's a very fitting in for these Georgia Bulldogs and this season. It's an incredible finish to it. No question about it. Something that Georgia fans will remember, I think, for a very long time. You're looking live at the scene in Los Angeles. Here, it's one for the books, folks. We're getting everything rolling here. On the Georgia Show, Jake Rowe, Jake Ruth with you. West Blankenship crew joined from downtown Athens. We got Paul.
Hey, Ruth, if you give me a second, I'm going to try to get back down to the field because there is some access here at the end of the thing. So give me just a moment. I'm going to try to get down there and get amongst it.
No problem. No problem. All right. And what a moment, folks. Welcome to the Georgia Show. Sorry for a little bit of technical difficulty getting things up and rolling here, but what an evening for the Georgia Bulldogs. Just a dominant performance. You can't say enough about it. We're going to keep this thing rolling as long as we can. It's what a night. I'm sorry if I'm not looking directly at the camera. It's what can you say? Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs come through with it again. You turn the TV off, please. Sorry, we're trying to get all this stuff coordinated. As you might expect, nobody really predicted this end for things tonight. But the Georgia Bulldogs come out with an incredible finish to their season, a magical season for the Bulldogs. Kirby Smart, it's 65-7. It finishes up. Stetson Bennett, immaculate performance. It's one that I don't think anybody will forget again. I told people that the big takeaway here is that, last season, not a fluke. I think that's pretty clear. I think it is pretty clear that Georgia kind of running the college football world at this point. 15-0 as Georgia National Championship 2021 said. You might have to update that avatar and that name. Thank you guys so much for joining us, though, over here at DawgsHQ and the Georgia Show. We are live right now. It's quite an experience. So get in this comment section. Come in with us. Desperado 17, most dominant champion ever. How can you argue it? Georgia put a chokehold on this thing from the jump. SEC dominance was clear. Stetson Bennett, impressive. 18-25, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns, 72% completion on the night. Brock Bowers, what a showing. 7 receptions, 152 yards, a touchdown. Tremendous effort all around. It's something that it will be hard to.
I'm in a cabana.
We got Jake Rowe back. Jake Rowe's in a cabana.
I'm in a cabana. This is mayhem.
Incredible. Jake, can you hear us? Can you hear us at all? He cannot. I'm not surprised by that.
All right, on to the next one. Hold on, I'll be back in a minute.
All right, Jake Rowe checking out again. We will take him off of this one. But yeah, jump in here. Rose the Trooper says Uncle Glenn Hartley. Everybody was for this one. This was a total team effort, and certainly for the Georgia Bulldogs. Not really a lot of doubt left for them in this one. Carson Beck comes in. Not a lot of precedence for your backup quarterback in a national championship game. Just a fantastic ending to a magical season for the Georgia Bulldogs. And, hats off to TCU. They earned, they scrapped. They won that impressive playoff game. They fought their way through, but ultimately, Georgia far too much for anybody else to deal with. And I think that's what's got to be taken into account here. Jake Rowe looks like he's back up and running. Let's get him back in here. Little spotty out there. You can imagine a lot of people on Wi-Fi in SoFi Stadium tonight. We'll see if we can get Jake up here in a minute. West Blankenship in downtown Athens. There's Jake Rowe. Walking around the field, getting the shots. Like I said, Wi-Fi at a premium on the field. We'll go to those guys as soon as we can. But if you have anything in here, hop in, bring it into the comments section. We're more than happy to talk about it, to discuss. Hey, look, I got a glass of bourbon poured. I got the suit jacket on. It's going to be one of those nights. And it certainly was for one of those for those Georgia Bulldogs as they're able to go down to Los Angeles, go across the country, and Georgia back-to-back national champions in the 2022 season. Just outrageous. Welcome to the Georgia Show. If you're just joining us, here we go. Let's bring Jake Rowe back in. His Wi-Fi.
Oh, man, you missed it. I just had Nazir Stackhouse for a second.
Nazir Stackhouse. I'm sorry we missed that. Andy Stowe says, this is nuts. I mean, Georgia was a lead, but wow. And, I don't think anybody quite predicted this one, Andy.
Cigar smoke.
A lot of people's expectation. Tomahawk Dog. No, I didn't get to go to this one. I got to go last year, though, and that was plenty enough for me. I filled my travel quota and was happy to do so. Janelle says, congratulations, Dogs, to Quavius mid-business tonight. Got that fade. Seriously, he's done for Georgia like no other. So proud of the entire team. Thank you. A lot of Dogs feeling a lot of love for Stetson Bennett tonight, and rightfully so. 4 touchdowns on the night. Like I said, 18, 25, 304 yards. A dominant performance, goes out on top. Played probably some of the 5 best quarters of his college career in the last 5 quarters of his college career. So, cannot underrate his performance. Uncle Glenn Hartley says, where's Palmer? I think Palmer's coming at some point. Like I said, Wi-Fi a little bit, as you might expect, a little scarce down there. A lot of people looking for it. Stetson Bennett, an atomic dog, says Bruce Taylor. I think that's fair to say, Bruce. Stetson Bennett has missed so much to his program, and was missing on the broadcast. Can go down as perhaps the most decorated player in the college football playoff era, and looks like he will. Hard to believe that he won't. Just an outstanding effort by him and the entire Georgia squad. We got to shout out Javon Bullard, too. I think that we absolutely have to shout out this defense. I said stock up earlier if you watched the Georgia show on the Georgia defensive backfield. They were able to come through in a major way. And the secondary was fantastic tonight. A tremendous performance from everybody. And I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm trying to give all my guys buy some time. We are up and running here at the Georgia show. Jake Rowe just doing what he can. This thing is spread so thin over there. The Wi-Fi, as you know,
the rain's crazy.
Define perfect. Define champion. Congrats, Dogs, on a perfect season. Peace and love from the Motor City. Philip Young shouting out the Dogs from up in Detroit. Love to see it. Representing. Anthony R. says, guys, in TCU, though, can we really feel that proud? LOL. I'm going to tell you something, Anthony. That's an impressive performance against Stanford. That's an impressive performance against Mercer. That doesn't matter who you put that score up against. It is hard to score 65 points in the NCAA, especially in Division I football. In the national championship, unheard of. Georgia Bulldogs did it tonight. You got a lot to feel proud. No question about it. Got some HBTFC coming in. Lynn Hartley and Chad rocking it tonight. Got Michael Merck. He said, I will suppose we will hear that TCU didn't have a star running back. Otherwise, they destroyed Georgia. I see where you're coming from, Michael. We heard that a lot last year with Alabama missing some key players. I imagine we might hear that again. But I don't know that he makes up for a differential this expansion. I don't know that he gives you 50 points. Georgia almost covers the over. Did cover the over by itself. Just tremendous. Fastest championship game ever since Jimmy Z. Flew by, man. Cannot believe it. Can't believe how fast it went. I thought we were all going to be hanging out till midnight, getting this thing fired off. My score prediction very, very off. 41-31. I was not even in the ballpark. I did not think that was covered. Thought TCU would have a little more fight in them, but Georgia proved they're on a different level tonight. Andy Stowe coming in with an NWO reference. You got to love that. They can say whatever. Dogs are full on heel. Hulk Hogan turned Hollywood Hogan. And certainly it feels that way. This is the big leg drop, right? Like this is the one on Macho Man. You come out, you join the outsiders. Now you're standing with Alabama. You're standing with Clemson. And quite frankly, it does feel like you're a little bit Hulk Hogan right now. You're kind of running the show.
Got Noah Smith and Josh Brooks up here sharing a moment.
Just an incredible scene over there in LA. Justin Martin with the savage call. Low Elo Joe says Stetson Bennett the fourth is a Georgia legend, unquestionable at this point. How Stetson Bennett factors in. The guy is. They'll write books about him. They'll have a movie. It's all coming. I think everybody can now agree on that. What will the NFL do? I think that's probably the next question. But look, the guy's conquered everything in front of him. He's put together an incredible career, and certainly now it looks like that's the next step for him. And I wouldn't bet against the guy. I would never bet against the guy. Ducati Tech, we hunted and took down the trophy. Kirby Smart said in the pregame, aggression. We came here to hunt. Dogs hunted tonight. Dogs put it together. A dominant performance for the ages. We got John Sibley Butler in here. Congratulations to the University of Georgia. Go Tigers, he says. SEC love coming in. Georgia, undeniable. 65-7 tonight against TCU. Just ridiculous. You can't really say enough. But if you have questions, you have comments, bring them in. Dustin Shirley says second string for 5 stars, a three-peat. I've heard the three-peat talk. I've heard a lot of people being already on that one. It's tough to pull that kind of thing off. It's not unfair to expect it, though.
Bunch of guys soaking it up.
Lake Road still on the field. We're live here on the Georgia show. Just really trying to take all this in. Foster Moss really captured, I think, a lot of people's feelings there. Wow. Just wow. TCU is better on what planet? Clearly not this one, LOL. And they didn't look like it tonight. The Horned Frogs got everything they could handle. I'm not really sure anybody could handle Georgia playing like they did tonight. TCU certainly didn't have any answers. I thought it was going to be closer than it was. Certainly was not. 58-point beat down from Ducati Tech. Top schedule next year, he says, also going to be in the mix yet again. 3 for 3 in 23. Too early to be talking about that? I don't know. Dog fan. Have a sip of bourbon with me, won't you? It's not the size of the dog in the fight.
Mullet Mania.
It's the size of the fight in the dog. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Georgia was all bark and bite. Clear to say, Bulldogs far and away outclassing TCU on the field. And shout out to the Horned Frogs, man. I thought this was a dangerous team coming into this one. They had really had a lot of
Stacey Searles.
success. Stacey Searles coming through. Just so you can see it live here from the field. I got Wes Blankenship coming in. I'm going to put you with Jake Rowe on the solo screen, and we're going to go to him full screen while I talk to Wes. You can see it from the field here, folks. Just talked to Wes Blankenship. Wes is downtown in Athens. He said it is quite a scene there, as you might imagine. I imagine a few of you may already be down there or headed that way soon. Bars don't close for 2. Don't forget that. Wes down there taking it all in and enjoying this one with the fans. He said there's no cell phone service. He's just walking around trying to get everything he can and take all this in. Amongst what is sure to be just an insane scene. I was in Indianapolis last year, and it was incredible. There's no doubt about it. This one feels different because it feels like it puts Georgia in a different echelon. And I'm interested to hear what people have to say about that, to be honest with you. I feel like this one put Georgia into a different echelon in the college football conversation. Dogs up there where everybody wants to be. Jake Rowe over here, the Wi-Fi spotty. Tomahawk Dog says, classy opposing fans, thank y'all. TCU, it's a class program. Hard to root against those guys. Matt Duggan, tremendous this year. Sonny Jake Rowe trying to say something. I don't know what he can get in. He's out finally. But get in here, drop it off. I killed off my whiskey. Jonathan Brewer says, I killed off my whiskey on that final play and timeout for Stetson. Hey, here at the Georgia Show, we got a glass for you, buddy. Jonathan Brewer, shout out to you, man. Thanks for tuning in this evening. Not bad for a rebuilding year for the Dogs, Alex Waller says. And we need to talk about that. I mean, 15 picks go to the NFL draft, the record, right? 5 guys from the defense in the first round. The expectations were not this for this year. It was not like Georgia fans felt like this was going to be a gimme. You thought you could still be in the hunt. Stetson Bennett's back. Ladd McConkey's back. A.D. Mitchell's back. Chris Smith played well. Jalen Carter, obviously a stud. How do you replace that middle? You lose 3 linebackers from that middle of the defense. You lose, Devontae Wyatt up front. You lose Jordan Davis up front. On the back end, Lewis Seen's gone. How do you come back around and do this? A lot of credit to these Georgia Bulldogs. I don't think anybody could deny that. Oh, man, y'all are dogging these TCU guys out a little bit. Jonathan, again, says, much respect for TCU. Deserved to be there tonight. I don't think anyone could have beaten them Dogs tonight. It's what I said. When you're talking about Georgia on its A game, it would be hard for anybody to overcome this team. I think that's true no matter how you slice it. Null Hypothesis says, SEC in a class of its own. Impossible to argue with that one. The SEC really setting itself apart, and Texas and Oklahoma coming in. Be interested to see how the Longhorns and the Sooners kind of take on the mantle of the SEC here, and if they get on board with the whole SEC. Muschamps reading glasses. Another interesting conversation we need to have. Build the Stetson Bennett statue. Hard to argue that you shouldn't do that one. Maybe retire the 13. Take it out of the rotation. And let me know your feelings on that, folks. If you think that that's what should happen, I'm interested. But I kind of lead that direction. I think that 13 maybe should be taken out of the rotation. A Heisman finalist, a 2-time national champion at quarterback, decorated in every respect that you possibly can be, a walk-on, a story for the ages. You all know it. You all love it. But I'm of the mind you take Stetson, that 13 maybe goes up in the rafters, and you don't put that one on anybody else. Alex Waller says that was the healthiest we'd been in a while. Ladd was back. The health tonight was key. We didn't expect a lot out of Darnell Washington, and then he's able to come back and contribute through this game. Jake Rose said really gutting this one out, and I think that was pretty clear throughout the whole performance for Darnell. And Ladd McConkey looking like he hadn't really lost a step. And how about Brock Bowers coming in there and just becoming the guy that everybody thought he would be in the Peach Bowl and is in the national championship? Clutch player, making clutch plays in clutch situations, big games, coming through. You got another year with that guy. Enjoy it. Soak it in, Georgia fans. You've only got a few games left with that guy. You got 1 season's worth of games left with Brock Bowers. No question about it. Tomahawk's Dog says, who could have seen this 2 years ago from Stetson? What a legacy he will leave, and the team has created. And yeah, I don't think anybody's arguing that with you, buddy. Tomahawk Dog, you're on point with that one. Let's go back here a little bit, see what we got. William Bishop says, what are you drinking? I'm drinking a little bit of Angel's Envy this evening in the glass. Just neat. Nothing crazy, nothing too fancy. Just a decent little bottle of whiskey. Figured I'd bust that one open, see what we thought about it. Let's see. Null Hypothesis says TCU had no business being in the top 4. They were exposed to total fraud tonight. Total ESPN ratings flop. ESPN hated this more than anybody. They hated this more than TCU fans. There's not really any other way to slice that. I think a lot of people were tuned out by halftime. No Georgia fans weren't, and that was probably the main demographic they were holding on to. But I would argue that. I think TCU, proved throughout the course of the year that they were a resilient team. That win over Michigan was key. That was, look, Ohio State took Georgia to the wire. They couldn't get over those Wolverines earlier in the year. So I don't know that I'm going to go that far. I don't think that I can agree with that one. I understand it. Palmer getting airtime on ESPN. Good for Palmer, man. Shout out to my man, Palmer Toms. Love it, man. How bad was Michigan then, says Alex Waller. I don't know. They were good enough to beat a team that took you to the ropes in the Peach Bowl. Took you down to the last pretty much the last 15 seconds of the game and shanked a field goal for you to find yourself in this position. So I'm not going to give the Wolverines too much grief for that. I think that, it's about playing your game on the night that you play it. And I think that they did it. Ryan Murphy says nothing but respect for Kirby and the Dogs. A lot of respect out there tonight. I think the college football world taking big notice of what the Georgia Bulldogs have done and can do moving forward. Muschamps Reading Glasses says, how good can Georgia be at quarterback or with Beck at quarterback next year? And that's a fair question. And based on what we've seen this year out of Carson Beck, I think that the answer is pretty damn good. Now, has the sample size been large enough? I don't know that we have that. I don't know that do we have Carson Beck having to come in and make plays in clutch situations and finish out games? That's something he's probably going to have to continue to develop throughout his campaign next year. If he is the guy who wins the job. Brock Vandegrift's still waiting in the wings. You got Gunnar Stockton in there. It's going to be a cream of the crop situation for Georgia at quarterback next year because one of these guys is going to win the job. One of them is going to do a fantastic job in spring and the fall camp. They're going to rise up. I think whoever you're able to put under center should be able to put together a nice campaign. And look, it's not going to hurt your chances if you're able to add a couple of those transfer wide receivers in Ra Thomas and Dominic Lovett next year. I think that it's you've got a lot to look forward to. I'll say that. No matter who wins the job, whether it be Carson Beck or someone else. Let's see. I'm communicating with Jake Rowe over here. Sorry for the pause. Just trying to opine, fill it up, and Georgia in once again. Dogs over the Frogs, 65-7, repeat champions. If you got comments, please share them with us over here at DawgsHQ. Let's talk about your feelings. Let's talk about what you're drinking tonight. Come sit in with us. Have a moment, all right? We can get through to it all. My guys are all struggling over here with their respective areas of content in terms of being able to get back and get connected with us. So my apologies that you're not seeing Jake Rowe, that you're not seeing Palmer Thompson, that you're not seeing Wes Blankenship. Those guys trying their best to get on here with us. Let's see. I'm trying to see if they're going to be able to hop back on with us. I don't know that they will be able to. Wes, certainly not. J.K. Tyler says he's drinking a Miller Lite. Very classy choice. Cheers, my friend. Blanton's Gold says William Bishop. William, invite me over sometime, buddy. I got to get over there, man. Hang out. A great choice. Westward says, great team, but man, down by double digits to OSU in the fourth. Georgia not an all-time great for sure. Back-to-back championships might say different, Westward. That's all I got to say about that. I think that you could certainly make the case that Georgia among the elite programs of all time. Indy Clip says, going broke with all the natty merch. Hey, look, worst ways to spend your money. I think that you've had some time to probably save a few bucks on that. Mr. Forte says, biggest blowout in championship history in the history of sports. Name one this worse. Okay. No, they did. Georgia showed up in a big way. They embarrassed TCU tonight, and I don't think anybody's going to argue that. I think that that's pretty clear. If you haven't, get over to breakingt.com/DawgsHQ. Check out our sponsors over there. Great friends of ours. They do a tremendous job and bring a lot to the table with NIL deals for these guys. They've got you covered on Stetson Bennett gear, Darnell Washington gear, Brock Bowers gear, Christopher Smith gear, whatever you need, they got you over there. Ryan Murphy says, as a Mizzou fan, I got to drink Budweiser. Congrats to the Dogs. Drinking a few buds in honor of UGA. Toast to you, Ryan. We're out here, man. Shout out. K-Cut said, I think people overlooked Georgia for long enough, and tonight solidified Georgia's place in the SEC in college football. Perhaps rightfully so, K-Cut's hair. I mean, Georgia was one of those teams that was knocking on the door for a long time, but could not kick it through. These last 2 years, they've been able to do it and really solidify themselves. Number 2 ranked class in the recruiting rankings in 2023 this year, off to a fantastic start in 2024. The machine doesn't look like it's slowing down at any point. And I think that's what people have to take. I think that's what people have to take account of, personally. Let's see. William Bishop says, always welcome in Augusta. Give me a master's badge, William. I'm coming down. Let's do it, buddy. Zach Lavender said, I must say I've never seen a second-string quarterback go in because they knew they were going to lose. Yeah, that was an interesting moment. I was a little surprised to see that. Not totally. Chandler Morris did start off the year right for TCU, so he deserved a moment, I guess, to play in this national championship. Say that he was a part of it. It was not what TCU had envisioned. I don't think it was what Georgia fans had envisioned. Of course, it's what they wanted, but it's what they ultimately thought would happen. I would be very shocked to learn that. Let's see. Wes DSC says, yes, now we are neck and neck with Clemson's championships in the past few years. Yeah, Georgia on that level right now. I mean, Alabama's still the standard. Nick Saban, he's got his championships multiple times over, always hanging around. Georgia right now on a run that can rival that. But can it get there fully? There's still something to prove. There's a lot more banners to hang if you want to be those guys. No question. Oh, Uncle Glenn Hartley, I didn't realize you were a resident of Santa Claus, Georgia. Outstanding, man. Shout out to Toombs County. How about those guys down there? Love it, man. Emily says, the respect Kirby Smart has for Stetson Bennett and calling a timeout for him is amazing. Go Dogs. What a special moment and well-deserved. You had to love that for Stetson. Just a tremendous thing. A proper send-off for a guy that has meant so much to this program, has meant so much to Georgia as a fan base, just the whole program. I think it was a classy move. There's no question about it. And rightfully deserved. And kudos to Kirby Smart for giving it to him. I was a little shocked Kirby kept the throttle down tonight. 65-7 is a lot. 65 is not something you see every day from these Georgia Bulldogs. Was anybody else a little bit shocked by that? I was a bit surprised. I was a little taken aback by it. I'm not saying they were wrong to do it. I just thought it was very interesting to do so. Here on the Georgia Show, hanging out with you, keeping things live in the post game. Share your comments, share your thoughts. Watt Life says back-to-back champs, go Dogs. I think a lot of people sharing that with you, Watt Life. Raise the Angels in before you tonight. But yeah, excuse me. A little spicy up the nose there. Wes of DSC says yes, and I'm assuming he's saying yes as in he was a bit surprised to see them keep the throttle down on TCU, as I was. I didn't think that they would. I didn't think Kirby would do that. I thought he'd pull the Dogs back a little bit. Classically, that's been the case, and tonight they didn't show any of that, and rightfully so. I think that TCU, I said all week, was like vampires. You know, you had to put them away. You had to put a stake in their heart. You had to beat this team down, break their will. You could not allow these guys to climb back in it because they just proven so many times over the course of this year that if you gave them an inch, they take a mile. They get back in this thing. Be impressive. Let's see. William Bishop says, An unstoppable force against a wet paper bag. Yeah, it was tough. Look, TCU had no answers, and that was clear from the jump. I mean, once they came back and scored that initial touchdown on their side of things, it felt like it was maybe a little bit, okay, can this get into a fight? And Georgia really, Javon Bullard and that defense just put a squelching halt to that. I mean, this just put the brakes on them. Emily says Brock Bowers is the GOAT. Kirk Herbstreit was waiting on Brock Bowers last week to come in and make a play time after time after time. Where's Brock Bowers? Where's Brock Bowers? Brock Bowers let you know where he was tonight. He was in the end zone. He was down the field. He was making tough grabs. He was doing impressive things, as Brock Bowers did. Tomahawk Dog says Branson Robinson looking like a typical RBU back. Nice to see him finish the game off that way. I think that you have to like what you've seen out of that kid. Can he get better? Absolutely. He's got steps forward to take. Kendall Milton coming back. You feel great about that. Dejan Edwards probably headed back. You think that that's probably going to happen for you too. How does Andrew Paul respond from that early injury that he suffered in fall camp that kept him out all year? Georgia with a very interesting a lineup this year. Roderick Robinson too. I'm the recruiting guy, so we want to get into a little bit of recruiting. Roderick Robinson just named one of the football players, or just named Mr. Football, I believe it was, in California by one of the preeminent authorities out there. First guy, I believe, since, oh gosh, I don't want to get this one wrong. From Lincoln High School, gosh, was it Marcus Allen? I don't know. Regardless to say, the guy was named the top football player in the state of California, which is not a state devoid of talent. Roderick Robinson, 6'1", 225 pounds, runs with power, runs with speed. A guy that's going to be, I think, a factor for the Georgia Bulldogs moving forward. We're going to wrap things up here soon. So if you have something you want to get in, feel free to hop in on the comments. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this evening. We've got a ton of stuff coming over to DawgsHQ. Make sure you get over there and check us out. We got we'll have all your post-game reaction. We'll have all the post-game video. We're going to have some stuff from downtown Athens. We're going to have some stuff from Los Angeles on the field. All those guys, Jake Rowe, Wes, Palmer, all out there on the scene for you. I'm holding it down up here in the North Georgia mountains, and proud to do so. Glad to be home and hanging out with you guys this evening. No Good says UGA will be loaded again next year. I don't think that's any argument. I don't think there's any way you could slice that. Look, Jalen Carter is a hard guy to replace, and I think everybody understands that. You don't come across a lot of Jalen Carters, period, right? He's a transformational defensive lineman. Jordan Davis was a transformational defensive lineman. Do they have that guy in the pipeline? Barry Alexander had some flashes tonight. I'm not saying he's going to be those guys. That's too much to put on anybody, especially a freshman. But Barry Alexander with some big flashes this evening. Definitely huge. Augusta here says, Wildlife, hey, get me down for the Masters. That's all I'm saying. Wes of DSC says, love North Georgia. Cartersville is my second home. Shout out to Cartersville, man. I'm over here real close to Blue Ridge, right on the Tennessee line up here in McKaysville, Georgia. That's home for me, and glad to be here after a long stint in Athens, 15 years I lived in Athens, but good to be home. Ryan Murphy, Kirby and his staff coached a masterful game. Have we talked enough about Todd Monken? Guy was drawing it up. I mean, dialing it up tonight. There were no answers. TCU had nothing defensively for what the Georgia Bulldogs had on offense. And Todd Monken deserves a lot of that credit. Stetson Bennett deserves a lot of that credit. Brock Bowers deserves a lot of that credit. The running game deserves a lot of that credit. These guys, put it on whoever you want, but the Georgia Bulldogs able to put together a tremendous performance over there. We had Gershel. What do we call Robinson and Robinson? Sounds like a law firm, says Tomahawk Dog. It ain't going to be R&R. I'll tell you that. Ain't no rest and relaxation for anybody playing against these guys. I can promise you that. Guys, we're going to wrap things up here in probably about the next 5 minutes. So if you want to get something in, have a question, please feel free to drop that in here. Let us know where you're celebrating from. Like I said, we got the bourbon poured up over here. Just hanging out with you guys, talking some Georgia football tonight, and glad to be doing so while Jake Rowe, Palmer Toms, and Wes Blankenship hold it down on location. Jealous of Wes a little bit tonight, man. I got to tell you. Tomahawk Dog says, Cat in the Hat called it an amazing game. I've been laughing about that all week. So Georgia back-to-back champions again, pull it off in the 2022 college football playoff. A stunning performance, 65-7. Experts couldn't have called it. Nobody did. Nobody had this kind of score. Tremendous. An effort that I think that Georgia fans will remember for a long time. We'll talk about for a long time. Stetson Bennett obviously has made his name in the lore. Kirby Smart has put his name in the lore. Emily down in Mexico City. All right. Shout out. All right. Very nice. Very nice. Emily, maybe you're drinking some tequila tonight. I don't know. Watt Life says, lost my last grandparent this past Saturday. This Georgia win was for Big Frank. Hey, Watt Life, toast to Big Frank tonight, buddy. I'm raising a glass to him. DawgsHQ putting one up for Big Frank this evening. And, this one was for Big Frank. This one was for Vince. This one was for Larry. Hard to put it into words, guys. And I apologize. I thought that we would have some of the guys on here tonight. I'm sorry you've had to just listen to me opine, sit here and ramble, but hope you've enjoyed it, and hope you've been able to sit back and express your feelings and know that you're not celebrating alone. Georgia fans out there tonight having a great time, and DawgsHQ got you covered for all of your post-game reaction, all your post-game info. We appreciate you guys checking us out. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you being here. There's no question about that. I'm taking last calls, almost last call for me with the bourbon. So if you got questions, if you got comments, work them in here at the end. Let's get them out, and let's talk about it. Let's get it out. Let's get it all sorted out. 65-7. I don't think anybody had that one. If you had that one, you should bet a lot more. You should be in Vegas, and maybe even contact DawgsHQ, and we'll get you a position over here. Because if you got that kind of foresight and knowledge, we'd love to have it. Guys, I really thank everybody for tuning in this evening. Congratulations, I will say to all of Bulldog Nation. Got a little bit of bourbon left in the cup. I don't know how the employer is going to feel about that. I hope they don't mind. But I think that, let's see. Ducati Tech says, can we tweak the schedule for next season is weak? I don't know that that's a bad thing for you. I think Georgia has a very strong chance to be ranked as a top 3 team probably going into next year. I mean, in terms of what you're returning, what you're losing, you're not going to tweak the schedule. That's not happening this late in the process. But I don't know that that's a bad thing for Georgia. I think Georgia might have a nice path in, especially given that you're replacing some key pieces. How this quarterback situation plays out is going to be something that everybody's going to have eyes on. Will it be Carson Beck? I think that's what everybody's predicting, and rightfully so. He was the guy coming in for Stetson and mop-up duty tonight. Brock Vandegrift and Gunnar Stockton going to challenge him for that spot. I have no doubt about that. And if he wins that job and is the clear number 1, you have a lot to look forward to, because those are 2 very talented quarterbacks. Whoever wins that job is going to have been pushed by some really, really outstanding play callers back there. All right. That's almost it here, guys. Like I said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure to check out breakingtees.com, breakingtea.com, DawgsHQ for all the latest in Georgia gear. I'm sure they're going to have a fresh national championship shirt up there for you if you need to spend a little bit more money on your gear. And make sure to get over to DawgsHQ and check us out. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. And come check us out over on the site too. DawgsHQ got you covered. All your post-game, all your recruiting, all your season coverage. A tremendous crew we have over there. Wes Blankenship, as good as they come. Jake Rowe, the best in the business. You got Palmer Toms, who's doing just outstanding work. And then, hey, I do a little bit of recruiting stuff as well. So glad to do it. Thank you guys so much. Congratulations. Mix in a water tonight. That's what I'll sign off with. Thank you so much for tuning into the Georgia Show, as it were, the postgame edition over at DawgsHQ, YouTube.com. We will catch you guys very, very soon. I promise we'll talk again. Have a great night.